Our media product was a thriller opening, and it was mainly inspired by watching other films of the same genre. This allowed us to include some of the traditional codes and conventions that are associated with thrillers, and in some cases challenge them. The majority of films will include some sort of introduction to the main character, which is usually to indicate the importance of their presence within the narrative, and to give the audience a good idea of who they are and what role they will play. Our main character, Walter Baines, is introduced immediately into the story through an establishing shot. It pans quickly to the right from behind a gravestone to reveal Walter in the background staring solemnly at another grave in front of him. One of the main conventions that are featured in thrillers is the use of black and white. This can be selected for a tint for footage filmed during the editing stage. The effect of this is that it can make the viewer feel tense, as the darkness creates suspense as they do not know what will happen next. It can make them fear for the character's fate as they may be in danger and might not be aware of it. This convention was used within our media product. During our flashback sequence, when one of our characters, the little girl who's the daughter of the officer, is killed. This is similar to another thriller opening, which is The Fugitive, which is also set in black and white, and similar violent events occur. Another convention that is continually used in thriller is ordinary settings. This is where the events may take place in ordinary suburbs or cities where extraordinary events do not usually happen. This can appeal to audiences as the settings are not too far-fetched, and allows them to, in some cases, emphasise with the characters they've sometimes shared their experience. The tradition of using stairs in thrillers has long been established, as they can feature in chase or fight sequences and make the audience feel desperate for the character, as in some cases it would seem like they are trapped. Similar thrillers to ours that use stairs very often is The Bourne Identity. During one scene, Bourne, the main character and the hero, is seen trying to escape a building where he is being pursued, and it seems as if he cannot escape without being caught. Also, his pursuers seem to be always rapidly gaining on him, which heightens the audience fear for him as they are rooting for him, and they seem to feel as if there is probably no one. We also decided to include stairs in our thriller, which are featured when the villain runs up to them and away from the hero after their fight, and the hero then goes to pursue the villain in order to protect his daughter. This therefore heightens the sense of danger and also the feeling of the unknown, as they are not sure what might happen next. Music is important in any film, as it helps the audience feel the overall tone of the film can enhance any scene, especially if it is right. Scores are often used throughout thrillers, and they are especially prominent during dramatic scenes. Scores and stings were used throughout our opening, and at the beginning of the score begins playing very quietly, which suits the muted atmosphere of the graveyard scene. This continues for a while, and into the flashback sequence, and the moment that the killer appears and pulls his gun out, the score begins to speed up, the violins start playing quickly all of a sudden. This indicates that the action is about to begin, and the fight between the two characters begins soon after, and the audience are caught up in the action, but at the same time, the score heightens their feeling of danger and the fear of the unknown. Themes associated with identity are common, which include mistaken identity, involvement of doppelgangers, and amnesia. An example of themes of identity from an existing film is Primal Fear, where the main character, Aaron Stampler, a nervous young altar boy, is accused of murdering an archbishop. A surprised attorney decides to take on his case, and as he has a stammer and is generally quite shy, it is a strange accusation. However, he soon discovers that he suffers from multiple personality disorder, as when he questioned Aaron about lying, he suddenly turned into a violent sociopath who calls himself Roy and admits to the murder. In many thriller films, the identity of the antagonist or the villain is typically known throughout the film, therefore the audience are also aware of their motives. Sometimes the hero is aware of this also, and does everything that they can to stop the villain in succeeding in their plan, which usually involves doing something that is morally wrong. Our thriller challenges this convention as our villain remains anonymous throughout, and his identity is concealed by his hood and dark clothing. This means that his motives are also unknown, and the audience will take them. Shadows can also have a big effect on the overall tone and theme of thrillers. They can often help to create an eerie and dark atmosphere that makes the thriller genre both very creepy and intriguing. Most thrillers are set in big cities, which makes the shadow element easier to incorporate. Our thriller uses this convention during our flashback, as it used to set up an atmosphere of fear. The low-angled mid-shot where the villain appears and seen now taking his gun out is especially dark, as it emphasises the danger that the little girl is in. We also included a series of opening sequence conventions that are traditional features of most film openings. This included creating an appropriate title sequence. This convention was used in our opening, with the names of the main cast and crew appearing in a set order. We took inspiration from openings such as Juno, where the titles are engaging and interesting, but at the same time do not detract the audience's attention away from the storyline. The film's title is also very important, as it conveys to the audience the message that they want to take away from the film, and also can hint at potential themes they can expect from the film. Titles can also be placed at the beginning of the sequence or at the end, but are usually in bigger, bolder typography to indicate its significance. The black screen could also help to indicate the oncoming darkness of the film, as most thrillers include dark and unnerving events and themes that may not be appropriate for some age groups. The majority of films have multiple settings, and in thrillers they often change quickly, which means that it is sometimes difficult for the audience to keep track of them. This is why it is important for the indication of the place to be clear, in order for them to understand the events of the narrative. The product uses and develops this convention as it uses only a few carefully chosen locations that are of importance to the narrative, and does switch quickly back and forth from them. We decided that although the audience would only see each location for a brief amount of time, we would make sure that the significance of each of the locations was clear. The graveyard represents the loss that Walter suffered, the house represented all the happy and sad memories of his life, the police headquarters represented the importance of his job, and the house of the older girls used to give a bit of context. Although most thrillers are now set in the present day within modern times, some can be set in futuristic times or within the past. Our thriller did give a good indication of the historical period our narratives were set in, which is the modern times. Examples of how we showed this was the use of props such as mobile phones and a handgun. Mood and tone are very similar elements within any film, but both play significant parts within it. The mood represents the feelings and thoughts that are provoked from the audience in reaction to the film, and the tone is the overall way that the film elements come together to create a certain type of atmosphere. For example, many thriller films' tones are quite dark due to the events of a violent nature that sometimes happen, which means that it wouldn't be appropriate for younger age ranges. The tone is also very dark due to the violent themes such as murder and revenge, and also at the times disorientating due to the ever-changing nature of our main character. The film's title is also very important as it conveys to the audience the message that they want to take away from the film, and also can hint at potential themes they can expect from the film. Also, theatrical trailers are released before it is shown in cinemas, which gives hints to potential filmgoers what kind of themes will be included and a broad outline of the storyline. Finally, there's usually a certification released with the trailer so that the target audience are aware if it is appropriate for them or not, especially if they intend to bring young children. Due to their general dark and potentially upsetting nature, thrillers are usually rated from a certificate 12 or up, so therefore they wouldn't be appropriate for younger children, and they probably would not understand what was happening. Film openings have to grab the audience attention straight away in order to help them stay interested in the narrative the whole way through. The success of a film usually depends on the audience finding these ideas and events engaging and exciting enough to continue watching. This is especially true for thrillers, as they generally include all three of these elements in some way, due to their fast-paced and unpredictable nature. We've included both of these themes in our opening, as the villain's cold-blooded killing of the little girl can be seen as an act of revenge, but the viewer is unaware of why this might be, which intrigues them and makes them want to find out the reason. The narrative being engaging and interesting is also essential because it generally determines the success of the film. This is especially true for thrillers, as they generally include all three of these elements in some way, due to their fast-paced and unpredictable nature. This can be done by including events that are challenging, shocking, or original. In some ways, every film includes one of these elements, which helps to draw the viewer in, even if they're similar to another film's idea. The narrative being engaging and interesting is also essential because it generally determines the success of the film. A good narrative tends to raise questions in the viewer, as some elements of the storyline are left unexplained. Our thriller uses this convention by introducing a complex storyline within the first 2 minutes of the film, and the unique elements such as the main character's torn loyalties, and the fact that he's ultimately going to have to choose who and what he's loyal to in the end. Fight and chase scenes are also featured quite often, as they are both thrilling and scary at the same time, and it usually involves one of the main characters. This is the case in our thriller, as the hero and villain are seen fighting, and then later the hero is seen chasing the villain up the stairs. Themes of revenge and obsession are common, as they are interesting elements and are also themes that can be linked to everyday life. We've included both of these themes in our thriller. The theme of revenge could have been seen as the act of murder that the villain carried out, and the idea of obsession could be linked to the officer's unusual interest in the older girl. Fight and chase scenes are also featured quite often, as they are both thrilling and scary at the same time, and it usually involves one of the main characters. This is the case in our thriller, as the hero and the villain are seen fighting, and then later the hero is seen chasing the villain up the stairs. Themes of revenge and obsession are common, as they are interesting elements and are also themes that can be linked to everyday life. We've included both of these themes in our thriller. The theme of revenge could have been seen as the act of murder that the villain carried out, and the idea of obsession could be linked to the officer's unusual interest in the older girl. Overall, we feel as if we have included all these elements in our own thriller, and this was due to us doing a lot of research into similar films of the same genre, in order for us to find some that matched the ideas we had, and from the additional research we carried out to match the target audience's expectations of what a thriller should be like.